UFC 316 just wrapped up. Merab Dvalishvili successfully defended his title for a second time in a row against Sugar Sean O'Malley. We'll be going through the whole card, kind of breaking down how every fight went. I'm not going to spend too much time on the early prelims because a lot happened on the main card, but overall it was a really fun pay-per-view. Even though the early prelims didn't have a lot of star power as far as names are concerned, they still put on some pretty good scraps. Overall, it was a great pay-per-view. And Merab has just shown that he is levels above everyone at the bantamweight division currently. I don't see... Honestly, I thought Umar was going to be the best chance of getting Merab out of there, and he made that look easy. And then, obviously, just made Sean O'Malley look easy for the second time, too. So, I've been hearing people say he should move up to 145 and try and become double champ, which I wouldn't mind. But at this point, let's see how many times he can defend this thing. People throw around the word GOAT very freely in this sport, but I think if Merab defends his belt maybe one or two more times, we could be talking about GOAT status. Really could. So I would love to see him stay at 135 for a couple more fights and then see what the 145 division looks like. But we'll get started with these fights here. Markel Maderos and Mark Choinsky. Mark Choinsky is just a durable guy. I mean, Markel Maderos damn near finished him with leg kicks multiple times. Mark Choinsky had no ability to switch to southpaw. I'll never understand that. I'll never understand how people get to the UFC and they're so one-faceted. Like, I know that not everybody is going to have a fluidity to switching stances and fighting out of both stances, but you have to have some ability to switch stances in the UFC, especially as prevalent as leg kicks are becoming nowadays. Like, if you start getting that front leg chopped up, you have to be able to switch stances. Because we've seen this happen a couple times versus opponents versus Chris Gutierrez, where he's actually finished two people with leg kicks. Or Jonathan Martinez. Like, these leg kicks are becoming a problem. And this is a great example. If you don't know how to switch stances in the UFC, you have to. You have to learn, or else this type of stuff's going to happen. Markel looked really good on the feet. Made Mark really feel his debut. Markel looked really good. Enjoyed that fight a lot. Moving on, Quillen Salkield and Yanel Ashmouz. This was a banger of a fight. Like I said, I thought that the odds were crazy, just seeing that this guy only had 19 seconds of UFC octagon time. But he showed in this fight that he is very well-rounded. I thought that he looked great. Yanel had a lot of really good moments as well. He kept things competitive, but not necessarily like even. I thought he had a couple good spurts and moments. He caught Quillen a few times, but Quillen, his pressure was really high. Mixed in a lot of takedowns, wrestled a lot against the fence. So he made it a dirty MMA fight, and they both got tagged up a good bit. It was a brawl at times, but Quillen looked good. He's probably going to be a pretty good contender at lightweight. I would assume he's gonna go places in the lightweight division. I liked what I saw out of him. He looks like he's a dog. He's got that kind of mentality to just go out there and go out on his shield. I think we're gonna get fun fights from him every time he steps in the octagon. So, congrats to Quillen. Moving on, Ju Song Yu. This was like one of the prettiest knockouts I've ever seen. I told you that this guy is a fucking scrub and that he's most likely going to lose this fight and get cut from the UFC. I believe that to be true. It is Sunday morning. We'll probably see the roster updates this week. I don't expect Jekka to be on there anymore. But the knockout itself was absolutely sensational. So apparently Ju Sung Yu is an incredible counter striker, but that step back left hook, the short left hook that he knocked Jekka out with, was almost a picture perfect replica of Conor McGregor's step back left hook on Aldo. Like, it was, I would love to see those two knockouts side by side. Face planted Jekka just like Aldo, and they showed this knockout in replay. Jekka went literal face first into the canvas. They showed it in super slow-mo, and the first thing to hit the canvas was his face. Like, his nose might be more sore today than his jaw because of how hard he hit the canvas. But Ju Sung Yu is going to be a fucking problem at featherweight. 1000% he's going to be an issue. I'm really excited to see what kind of matchup they give him next. But I'm high on this guy. I can't wait to see him fight again. Not much else to say. I mean, knockout of the year candidate so far. Fell over like a bag of fucking potatoes. All right. Ariana Da Silva and Wang Kong. I don't know if you guys kept hearing the commentating booth during this fight, but I'm pretty sure DC gave Wang Kong like 7 different names. I want to say he was calling her Wang Tong at one point. That's a story for another day. DC is the worst fucking commentator that walks this earth. It grinds my gears listening to him talk on the pay-per-views. But Ariana Da Silva did not. I mean, she was getting another example of leg kicks. Ariana was able to switch stances a little bit, but she wasn't staying there long. And as soon as she would switch back, Wang Kong, or Wang Tong, as DC would call her, was just chewing it up. I mean, I thought that this fight was going to potentially be stopped by leg kicks. She gave a couple really bad visuals when she got kicked in that leg. But, I mean, she just got dominated. Absolutely dominated all 3 rounds. Name change didn't help. I'm almost positive this is her 2nd loss in a row, 3rd loss in a row. So, yeah, she's probably going to be gone. You don't really... this was an unranked fight in the flyweight division, right? 3rd loss in a row, losing to a UFC newcomer, or not a UFC newcomer, someone that's new in the UFC. I would call this a UFC newcomer. Wang Tong looked really good. She'll probably do great things at flyweight. I would love to see her get like an actual test in front of her, like a real striker. Because Wang Tong is crisp on the feet. More than doubled her significant strikes and total strikes. I mean, she just beat the piss out of Ariane. Very, very one-sided fight. Hopefully they do away with Da Silva and we don't see her again. This fight went exactly how I thought it was going to. Exactly. I said, if Andres gets behind his punches and wrestles, this is going to be a motherfucker of a fight for Chaos. And I took Andres. I took him as a betting underdog. I think that when we made the video and took him as betting underdog, he was a lot more of an underdog than 165. But this fight went exactly how I said it was going to. If Andres was going to win, going to put that relentless pressure on Chaos, wrestle. He wasn't as clean with his setups on his takedown attempts as I thought he was going to try to be. He made it really, really ugly. He said himself he's not a very technical fighter. He's like some Viking wannabe, kind of like eerie with his samurai kind of weirdness. Whatever the fuck you want to call it, spirituality. But either way, he took it to Chaos Williams, made Chaos look like we haven't seen him look before. Obviously, Chaos needs to work a lot on his wrestling and his clinch work. He was getting beat up quite a bit in the clinch. But Andres looked really good. I think he's gonna, if he puts that pace on other guys in the welterweight division, they're gonna struggle to keep up as well. I mean, it was relentless for a guy this big at welterweight. Like, he's got to be walking in there close to 200, maybe 205. He might be cutting close to 30 pounds to get down to welterweight. This is a big motherfucker. And this big, bald, Swedish dude walking you down, not giving a shit about whether he gets put on his ass or not. That's scary. That's scary. You make Chaos look really, really bad for the majority of that fight. Not a lot of people are able to bring it to Chaos like that. Chaos usually puts people on their back foot very quickly. But Andres came out at the start of every round in a blitz and made sure to put Chaos on his back foot, and that was what won him this fight. So, on the prelims, I think we did pretty good. We missed this one. We got this one. We got this one. We got this one. We got this one. And we got this one. So we missed one. So on the prelims so far, okay? This fight went pretty much how I thought it was going to as well. Waldo Cortez had good takedown defense when Sergey shot. Sergey didn't use his wrestling as much as I thought he was going to. I think he should have leaned on it a little more than he did. But Waldo, he's just a big body, big dude. And people have to respect the power. He throws overhand rights from hell. They're not the most technically sound, but it works. And Sergey has a very impressive resume at heavyweight. He is, for 31 years old, he's fought the who's who in heavyweight. So beating Sergey is like a good step up for Waldo Cortez. I had Waldo Cortez winning this fight. I thought that the only way that Sergey was going to be able to get this done was if he did take him down and get some control time, which he was not able to do, really. He got him down a couple times, but not much with it. So Waldo did really well at mitigating what Sergey needed to do. His takedown defense looked really, really good. We've seen him look bad in takedown exchanges and kind of give them up in previous fights. You could tell he did not want to get taken down by Sergey. So props to Waldo. He did really, really well. This is another underdog that we took that cashed in. So we'd love to see it. And then this one, kind of figured. We called this one as well. Not a huge, I think everyone knew that this was going to be the outcome. I don't think everyone thought that it was going to happen as fast as it did. I thought maybe we were going to get into the second round, only because of the height disadvantage and the reach disadvantage that Azamat was working with. I thought it would take him a little bit longer to figure out that range before he started really peppering Brendanson Ribeiro, but he didn't. He got in there, made real quick work of that range, figured it out fast, and put it on him. I think Azamat is probably one of the most slept-on fighters on the roster, especially in the light heavyweight division. He's built like a fucking jelly bean, but I don't think there's anyone else streaking like this at light heavyweight. Light heavyweight needs this type of spark in the division. I think it's a little dull right now. I love to see Azamat keep moving up. He's really exciting. Like I said, he's built like a fucking jelly bean, but he's very, very fast. A lot of power in his hands, and he's very unassuming, but super technical. Very technical. His boxing is so good. And he made quick work of Brendanson Ribeiro. Probably going to see Brendanson get cut too. I think this was his third loss in a row. Just kidding. I'm fucking talking out of my ass. It's been a long night, guys. I'm sorry. It was like 2 a.m. on the East Coast when that fight ended last night. But yeah, that's a tough fight. Azamat. There's a chance we're going to see this guy be a title contender very soon. Very soon. Especially with the current state of the light heavyweight division. So I'm excited to see what Azamat does next. It was a great performance, quick work, easy money. Moving on, Joshua Van, again, I know he was a huge betting favorite, but I've been high on this kid for a couple fights. He's got some of the best boxing in flyweight. No doubt about it. His boxing is so good. But he's also got grappling and takedown defense, and he's good in every area that you go to. But he was just too much for Bruno. The volume that Joshua Van was putting out was really, really good. He tagged Bruno in every round, hurt him in every round, knocked him down multiple times. I thought he was going to finish him the second knockdown. We weren't getting very good visuals from Bruno Silva. Somehow he came to and got back in the fight. But Joshua Van is a motherfucker, guys. He is going to be a title contender, I'd say, by the end of this year. He's probably going to get 2 more fights. He said he wants to fight a couple more times this year. I'm pretty sure he's already fought twice this year. Yeah, he's going to fight 4, maybe 5 times this year. Just beat Bruno Silva. Maybe give him 1 more ranked opponent, or unranked opponent, and then give him someone in the top 15. But he's going to be a problem. He's only 23 years old. He is improving with every fight that we see. His boxing just keeps getting better and better, and he made that shit look easy last night. So no wonder why he was that big of a betting favorite. And Bruno Silva's not a slouch, guys. Bruno Silva is pretty well-rounded himself. Like, he's not an easy matchup in the flyweight division, but Joshua Van made it look real easy. More than doubled up his significant strikes and total strikes thrown. Was beating up. I mean, he was headhunted. Absolutely headhunted. Could care less about the legs. The one good thing that Bruno Silva did do throughout the fight was he was constantly chopping down the leg kicks, or the legs of Joshua Van. And typically when someone eats almost 30 leg kicks, their power starts to diminish a little bit. Their movement starts to slow down a little bit because that leg becomes compromised. Joshua Van, shit. Nope, not him. Apparently he's got a Terminator leg. Ate 30 leg kicks like it was nothing and didn't slow down at all. Lost no power. Ended up getting a KO in the 3rd round with 1 minute left. So just goes to show you how tough Joshua Van is. I don't think that anyone is going to beat him anytime soon in the flyweight division. Almost positive I saw him call out Brandon Moreno, which is kind of wild. Like, that would be a huge step up. I think maybe after 1 or 2 more fights that might make sense if he beats someone in the top 15. But it would be a cool fight down the line, don't get me wrong. Both of them have really fun striking. I think that would be a fun match, but Joshua Van got it done in an easy fashion. Moving on, Vicente Luque and Kevin Holland. This, again, like, you don't know what trailblazer is going to step in there, and you don't know which Vicente Luque is going to step in there. Last night, the Vicente Luque that's timid stepped in there, and last night, the Kevin Holland that is a motherfucker at 170 stepped in there and looked really good. I called this ass backwards. I thought if Kevin Holland was going to win, it was going to be a TKO, and if Vicente Luque was going to win, it was going to be by a Darce or a choke of some sort. That's the only way I saw Vicente Luque winning. And Kevin Holland Darced him. I think it was more of an anaconda because the lock was on the outside, and he did kind of try and roll like a normal anaconda to roll through. But Vicente had a really good base and turtle. But because Kevin Holland has such long arms, he was still able to finish the anaconda choke from that front headlock position, which not a lot of people can do. Like, finishing the anaconda choke from front headlock is difficult as shit. But when you've got a wingspan of 900 inches like Kevin Holland, it's a lot easier. But 170 is where he needs to stay. I really like Kevin Holland at 170. I think a lot of people do. The matchups are a lot more in his favor at 170. He's on a 2-fight win streak now. I'm always going to tune into a Kevin Holland fight. He's always a lot of fun. And he looked good. Again, when Kevin Holland is on his shit, there's not a whole lot of people that can beat him. I will stand by that. He's been inconsistent, and it again depends on which version of him steps in the octagon on fight night. But when he's on, he looks good. So made really quick work of Vicente Luque last night. Didn't take really any damage at all. So we'll probably see a pretty quick turnaround from Kevin Holland. He looks like he's in a good spot mentally. He looks like he's having a lot of fun at 170. Looks like he's kind of taking things more seriously. You know, cutting down to 170 when you're used to fighting at 185. Like, you would think that might be a little harder, but he seems to be dialed in. So can't wait to see what he's able to do at 170. That was a good win over Vicente Luque. Vicente's having a tough time. Really having a tough time putting things together. But, you know, he's 33. We'll probably see him back in there a couple more times, and the UFC will give him a chance to make things right. But moving on, Mario Bautista and Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix looked terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't know if it's... I mean, this is 2 for 2 now. 2 months ago, Patricio came in and looked pretty much the same way that Patchy did. Like, Bellator isn't a small promotion. Like, it's not as big, obviously, as the UFC. But Patchy Mix and Patricio Pitbull, they both got in the UFC octagon and acted like they'd never been in there before. Like, the UFC jitters really, really got to them. I watched a couple fights that Patchy Mix had before this. The Sergio Pettis fight, a couple of his other title defenses. He looked stiff. He looked like someone poured fucking concrete in his trunks. His head movement was non-existent. His feet looked like they were like stuck in the mud. He was just standing there in front of Mario Bautista getting fucking pieced up. He said that he was going to submit Mario Bautista, and he tried to take down Mario once. I don't even think it was that much of a takedown attempt. He said, "I'm going to submit you," and then froze out there. Didn't look like he belonged at all. They both, I mean, if you look at this on paper, it doesn't look like it was as much of an ass beating and one-sided fight as it, like, you see 30-27 and then you see these numbers on paper and you're like, well, hold on. It doesn't really look like it was that much of a one-sided fight, but it was. I mean, Patchy was wearing damage. Mario was wearing it a little bit. Patchy started picking it up towards the third round, but the first 2 rounds, Mario Bautista it was like a human punching bag. Patchy stood there with a high guard, was getting popped. He was getting his guard split because his head was not moving. And then Mario Bautista was piecing him up. The hands would float higher and he'd go to the body. He had a lot of body work. And I said this in my breakdown video, that this conventional southpaw orthodox matchup, that Mario Bautista was probably going to be hammering those body kicks with the rear leg, and he was. He had a couple really nice body kicks. He was working the body with jabs, getting Patchy to float his hands down, going back up to the head. He was mixing it up beautifully, and Patchy just looked like he didn't belong there. So they're probably going to give Patchy an unranked fight to get his feet wet in the UFC. I don't think they want this. I think the UFC is bringing these guys over here because they want them to do well, right? Like, in a perfect world, Dana White wanted probably Patchy Mix to come over here and beat Mario Bautista and spice things up in the bantamweight division. But it's not happening. Mario moves up. This is, I believe, his 5th or 8th fight win streak. 8? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-fight win streak in one of the toughest divisions in the UFC. Mario Bautista. Listen, you can say all you want about that Jose Aldo fight, but he's still got to win over Jose Aldo, and then he just took a very high-risk fight that he did not have to take against Patchy. this was another case of who the fuck shows up with KG. Were we going to get the taco-loving, non-training KG, or were we going to get the title contender that gave Israel Adesanya the hardest fight of his life? Up until these last couple years, obviously. And we got the taco-loving, untrained KG, it looked like. He got knocked down bad in the first 2 rounds. I thought Joe Pyfer showed a lot of growth in not trying to empty his gas tank and get Kelvin out of there when he got him hurt. I think a lot of people thought that this was a little bit of a boring fight. Round 3 was definitely a bit lackluster. Round 1 and round 2 were when most of the action happened. That's when he dropped KG. But, you know, he did what he had to do. He said in the post-fight interview, like, KG is a tough bastard. It's hard to get him out of there. He's never been knocked out, never been finished. He's like, you know, Joe Pyfer knew where he stood. He's like, okay, I've knocked this guy out, or knocked this guy down twice. I'm not getting him out of there. I need to play the long game. I don't need to blow my load trying to get him out of there. So Joe did what he needed to do. It wasn't the most exciting fight. I think Joe has got a lot of potential at middleweight. I think he still has some holes that he needs to fix. He tends to be a little bit of a one-trick pony, especially towards the end of that fight. We saw him doing a whole lot of nothing when it came to striking. Nothing setting up anything. He was sitting there pawing, keeping his right hand fucking cocked, pawing, looking for that big right hand. And it just never came. KG wasn't going to give him, you know, here's a free right hand down the pipe, right? So I think he needs to work on his striking a little bit, because when you get in there with someone that's a little bit more dangerous than Kelvin, that's probably going to get you in trouble if you're just looking for that one big shot. Got to use your jab. You can't just sit there and paw and parry and wait for a big shot to come. So that's my only critique for Joe Pyfer. I thought he did a really good job otherwise, but he does need to really work on his striking and mixing things up and setting up shots rather than just waiting for the big one to come. So moving on. Thank fuck that I didn't look like a jackass, because I was talking this Kayla Harrison up so much during this. I am ecstatic that this fight went this way. I thought that Kayla Harrison was going to throw her across the octagon. She did get some takedowns, obviously, but I really wanted to see Juliana Pena just come at her with some just fucking, and then see Kayla Harrison fucking Uchimata her across the octagon. I really wanted to see that. I didn't get it, but I got the next best thing. Took her down, beat her up a little bit, and then submitted her with ease. You know, had a really dominant performance on the feet before it got taken down to the ground. Once she got her down to the ground, you could just tell her ground game was miles better than Juliana's. Juliana, as soon as she got into side control, like, you could tell that that's where that fight was going to stay unless Kayla Harrison wanted to move. Kayla Harrison isolated that arm, very similar to how Islam submitted Dan Hooker, and made it look easy. That Kimura was beautiful. Got it right before round 2 ended. I was really glad that she ended it there. A lot of times we see that happen. Like, you know, they have a submission locked in, but they don't get the tap. Round ends. They start the next one on the feet. Some crazy shit happens. That's all I was thinking about. As she was trying to finish the submission of the Kimura, I was like, please, for the love of fuck, please finish this so we don't come out in round 3 and give Juliana any sort of ability to come out and make this thing dirty and potentially hurt Kayla. So Kayla looked dominant. They're already talking about setting up an Amanda Nunes super fight. Amanda came into the octagon and squared up with her. So that's obviously going to happen. Amanda Nunes is coming out of retirement. Sorry, my nose is itchy this morning. So yeah, like that's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be the next fight. Amanda Nunes said that she hasn't been training. She's been taking care of her children. So she may need like a full 12-week camp to really get ready for this. So we may see Kayla defend her title once before we see Amanda Nunes. I don't know if we're going to see Amanda Nunes and her fight at 135 or 145.
If I were Amanda Nunes, I'd say 135 all fucking day. Make Kayla Harrison cut that weight. She looks horrible cutting at 135. I'd say even with or without. God, the fucking allergies are killing me. I'd say even with or without the Amanda Nunes fight, Kayla Harrison maybe has 2 more, maybe 3 more fights at 135. That cut looks like it is devastating for her. I highly doubt she wants to do that very much more. So I think she's probably going to defend her belt once, maybe twice at 135, and then she's going to move up to 145 and stay there. I think, she wanted to become a 2-time champ. She got it done at 135 within a couple fights in the UFC, so that's cool. But she looks rough at 135 on those weight cuts. I think everybody knows that. She knows that. Her opponents know that. Again, that's why Amanda Nunes, if she's smart, she will ask for this fight first at 135. We might see a matchup again with them at 145, depending on how the first fight goes. But I don't see Kayla Harrison being beat anytime soon. No one has the credentials grappling that she does. You get close to her, she's just going to punish you. So I'm loving that we got Juliana Pena out of there. Keep her far away from the title. I don't want to hear anything from her ever again. Moving on, main event. My boy Suga. None of the lifestyle changes made a difference. Not that I thought that they would, but listen, that was a very annoying storyline and narrative that the media they just picked up and fucking ran with this week. Lifestyle changes. It's like, yeah, he mentioned that on a podcast and said like he's in a much better place, but they were making this seem like because he stopped smoking weed and stopped gooning and stopped social media that was all going to win him the fight. It's like, guys, that's the most retarded narrative that you could fucking put out there. But I think everybody kind of fell for it because they were pushing it so hard. Like I was reading comments on posts and, I think Suga's going to get it done with his new mindset. And it's like, yeah, mindset goes a long way, but not against Merab Dvalishvili. Okay? I've admitted it before. I'm a huge Suga Sean fan, but you have to give Merab his flowers. Merab is a dog. He outstruck O'Malley. Big time. His striking looked pretty good. Like I thought he caught O'Malley a couple times. And him and John Woods said like, yeah, we've added some things to my game to make me more of a fighter that finishes, right? Instead of these decisions. And I was like, yeah, fucking right, whatever. We're just going to see another decision. Oh. His striking looked like it improved immensely. And then obviously, he's a submission threat now. That was a slick submission. You can't deny it. I mean, who the fuck is going to take the title from this crazy guy? Who? Like I said, Umar was who people thought were going to give it to him the hardest, and he made easy work of Umar. Corey Sandhagen is mostly next in line. I don't think Corey Sandhagen has as good of a chance as Sean had. Maybe. The one thing that I will say is that Sean's takedown defense looked better. It didn't look outstanding. It didn't look good to the point where I was like, yeah, well, he worked a lot in camp. Which he said he did. So it's so confusing. It's like, did he? Or is Merab just that fucking good? We saw him put Sean on his back a couple times, and Sean didn't really have much off his back. We could see him kind of trying to set triangles up a little bit, but Merab is, his pressure in the guard is going to be difficult to throw submissions up in your closed guard with a guy like that. We saw him trying to get his hips out from underneath him, creating angles for like arm bars and stuff, but again, like Merab's too good for that. You're not gonna be hitting a submission on him in your closed guard. But guys, Merab's a motherfucker. He is a motherfucker. Listen, he needs to be in the conversation of GOAT soon. Again, the MMA community, we have a terrible knack for throwing that around very loosely. Oh, this guy's the GOAT. This guy's the GOAT. No, this guy's the GOAT. Merab, okay, he's on like a 14-fight win streak, 15-fight win streak. His resume is incredible, and he is improving every single fight. He dominated O'Malley. More than he did. I mean, he obviously finished him, so he beat him in a better fashion than the Sphere. But, I mean, guys, he made O'Malley look bad. O'Malley's got to go back to the drawing board. Because that's the thing. Who are you going to throw him up against? Umar? Umar does the same thing that Merab does, in my opinion. His cardio isn't as big of an issue, but this is super unorthodox for a Sugar Sean fight. Like, typically you would see the 141 on his side, right? But it's like that first fight, Sean O'Malley understood truly how much of a threat the takedown was. And I thought in the first round he did really good in the first like 3 minutes of moving laterally. You could tell he was mixing in different feints and different directional changes, and it was working. Like, you could tell Merab was having a hard time timing his shots because Sean was using some different movement that we hadn't really seen before. I thought he had a couple moves he pulled out that looked very similar to like a Dominic Cruz almost. So tough. Sean O'Malley, I don't know who they're going to match him up against. They're saying Corey Sandhagen's going to be next for the title. We're probably going to see Merab beat Corey Sandhagen as well, even though, Sandhagen's been waiting for a long time for this title shot. He's one of the most deserving guys. I just don't think he's going to get it done against Merab. We'll probably see Merab defend the title once against Sandhagen, maybe another time, and then we'll probably see him move up to 145. But I don't see anyone beating Merab anytime soon. I don't. Sean O'Malley has to work on his ground game. Has to. If he gets matched up with a wrestler or a grappler, this is going to be the outcome every single time. Every single time. The cardio of Merab didn't come into play here. It didn't. We can't use that as an excuse. It was he got dominated on the ground, and he hasn't made enough adjustments on the ground. So we absolutely are going to see next time Sean O'Malley steps into the octagon whether or not he made those improvements. And he's got to make those improvements. Has to, or else he's never going to develop. And if that's the case, then we have seen the best of Sean O'Malley, which I don't think that's the case. He's 30 fucking years old. He'll go back to the drawing board. He should work on his wrestling a lot. You would think he would. So we'll see. We'll see how he comes back and rebounds. Two straight losses. That's tough to come back from mentally. So we'll see what he's made of. We'll see what he's made of. Overall, UFC 316 was a stacked card. A lot of finishes. We did really, really well on betting other than the main event. Everything else we did pretty fucking good on, except for the first fight. Everything else we were pretty spot on. So good night for betting, bad night for the Sugar Show. Merab Dvalishvili gets it done at UFC 316, successfully defends his title again. We'll see what kind of matchups we get from this after the dust settles, but let me know your comments below on who you think is going to be able to take Merab out and what might be next for Sugar Sean. But whether or not Merab stays at 135 for long or not, we got to start talking about GOAT status for him. Truly. The Georgian GOAT. But that'll do it. I appreciate you guys stopping by. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.